So for the second part of this, I will list 10 characters that I believe indeed do deserve to be in Super Smash Bros. If you haven't seen the video of 10 characters who do not deserve to be in Super Smash Bros., I suggest you see that as well. But anyway, here are the 10 characters that Sakurai did not even bother to consider. 1. The Ice Climbers. I recall back in 2001, that hardly anybody knew who the Ice Climbers were, as they were playing Super Smash Bros. Melee. That was until I became familiar with Ice Climber for the NES. They were a unique character, for they were powerful, small, and they could not prevail unless they were together. Cutting them from the game makes no sense unless there was another pair of fighters that work just like them. Rosalina and Luma do not necessarily do so. They were the only tandem that worked the way they did, and not putting them in this game is hugely unacceptable. 2. Mewtwo. For the second time, Mewtwo has not appeared in a Smash Bros. Game despite his high demand and number of complaints online. After the announcement of him getting a Mega Evolution along with overrated dog Pokemon Lucario, people were under the assumption and hopeful that he was going to return in this game, only for their balls to be kicked over the horizon. It makes no sense for him to not appear. I mean, he has been featured in like 3 or 4 Pokemon movies. He is the last Pokemon to obtain in the original Red, Blue, and Yellow, and he does fall into the villain category. It was taken away when they cut him. Lucario gets all the glory for practically nothing. Sakurai's a dick. 3. The new Ganondorf. Looking back at the Hyrule Warriors trailer featuring Ganondorf with longer hair, it was just awesome and a breath of fresh air to actually see him in an action-packed environment swinging multiple swords and kicking ass. I couldn't wait to get the game from those sequences. Then you see him again in Smash Bros. Same look as Brawl, nothing new or different. It's like Sakurai hardly gives a shit. Why couldn't we get this new Ganondorf in Smash Bros.? If Sakurai can develop Greninja before his game came out, why can't he be in touch with the developers of Hyrule Warriors to give him a different look? There is no way that Hyrule Warriors is being represented in this game whatsoever. They could have at least gave Ganondorf or perhaps Sheik their appearance in Hyrule Warriors. There's no excuse why Sakurai couldn't do that when Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles is in the game, and which only happened because there will be a 3DS port coming out. 4. Crystal. Yet another hugely popular Nintendo character. She had been repeatedly ignored thanks to the ignorance, incompetence, and prejudice of Sakurai. Debuting in 2003, she was the main focus of Star Fox Adventures, and in later games, an honorary member of Team Star Fox. She wields a magic staff which no other character has, on top of having his second attire with a second set of moves, like Samus. Had Sakurai not done away with transformations or swapped characters, Crystal could have changed from one to the other with the magic of Krazoa spirits. Falco has hardly been a major supporting character in any Star Fox game, yet for some reason this is his 3rd Smash Bros. Appearance, while the more innovative Crystal is constantly out of the conversation. I'll say it again, Sakurai's a dick. 5. Medusa. She deserves to be in the game far more than Sakurai's Golden Horde Palutena and Dark Pit combined. Here is why. Medusa, as you know, was the original villain in Kid Icarus, in which you had to defeat her in a monster form to save Palutena. That game was older than Zelda, and it would have been very appropriate for her to be the first ever female villain to be put in the game. But nope. That honor just had to go to fucking Wendy Koopa. It just made zero sense as to why Sakurai would not include her in the game after her presence in Kid Icarus Uprising either. Giving her a different look from her original game, giving her a plausible final smash move, having her save Pit from Hades. Shit move, Sakurai. 6. Ray MK3. He was an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Custom Robo is a franchise of games where you collect parts for your robot to use in battle, such as guns, bombs, pods, and feet. This would have been a great addition to Smash Bros., where each special move could have been a different part of his, and you could change the different guns, bombs, pods, and feet he will use by customizing him just like in Custom Robo. Why the fuck couldn't Sakurai think of that? I could think of several different excuses, such as, he was too much work, he's too small, that franchise is dead, or that, we have enough robots, which include just Rob and Mega Man. 7. King K Rool. He is well established as one of Nintendo's greatest villains, Being the final boss in 9 of 10 games that he has appeared in, there's no excuse as to why he doesn't deserve to be put in the game. Perhaps he is too similar to Bowser and Dedede, as he would be big, powerful, yet slow and clumsy, but compared to the several smaller, speedier characters, his addition would not change anything about the roster overall. Just because he's a reptile that is as big as Bowser, it doesn't mean he can exactly be like Bowser. Oh, but we can have 4 blonde swordsmen, 3 blue-haired swordsmen, and clones galore in Sakurai's fantasy world. Sakurai's fantasy world, no creativity allowed. 8. Fighter Hayabusa. He could have been another good retro character. He is the main character in the NES game Pro Wrestling, and I could have seen him as a very unique character. Following characters such as King, Armor King, and Murdoch from Tekken, Zangief, Hugo, and Hakan from Street Fighter, and Bane and Grundy from Injustice, he could have been a character specialized in grapples and throws. It would be fun to have a character pile driving, suplexing, and tossing people across the battlefield. Even though he wouldn't be well ranged compared to the other fighters, agility would make up for it. 9. Samurai Goro. Some people may argue that he doesn't deserve to be in Smash Bros., while I believe that he does. He debuted along with Captain Falcon in F-Zero, and his story was that he is Captain Falcon's rival, which was the reason why he decided to take up machine racing. As Sakurai displayed in Brawl, Goro has a very unorthodox way of using his katana, so why couldn't we see more of it for the next Smash Bros. Game? If you want more villain representation, heck, even he would be a great addition, as well as the other 3 villains I already mentioned. Last but not least is number 10. Krum, the main character of Fire Emblem Awakening. I have played and beaten the game, and despite Sakurai's opinions and choices, I really didn't need to utilize Robin and Lucina as I did with Krum. I needed to use him to pull through several tough chapters in the story. I needed to use him to defeat the final boss in 2 turns. I don't really understand why choose to have Lucina in the game over Krum, and not even give her a different move set from Marth. He decided to have Marth, Roy, Ike, and all of a sudden not Krum? I don't see how that is fair. It's possible that you don't have to give a Fire Emblem character the same exact moves. No, it's Sakurai's way of saying, I'm lazy and incompetent. So yeah, those are 10 characters who do deserve to be in the game over the 10 that I listed earlier that do not. Do we have the right to accept this roster as passable? Absolutely not. Do we think that this should be Sakurai's last Smash Bros. Game? Yes. He deserves to lose his job for a number of reasons. He did a lousy job, somebody else could have done a better job, and he constantly decides what he wants, over what people are going to spend their hard-earned money for this game want. Whatever happened to, the customer is always right? Nobody asked for Dark Pit, nobody asked for Dr. Mario, nobody asked for Iggy, Larry, Wendy, Grumpy, Dopey, Happy, whatever their names are. And the majority of fans that do suggest characters they are never put in the game. That is just terrible PR, and Sakurai's job should go to somebody who knows what they're doing, like whoever was in charge of Hyrule Warriors. Koei. They made that game from the ground up and they seem to be 1,000 times more productive than the team that's worked on Smash Bros. The customer is always right.